You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Are you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fucking fight back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rubber City Throwdown, the official voices of Honor Fighting Championship and now Cage Thunder.
Oh.
Which reminds me, let's give a little shout out to Cage Thunder for letting us record their event. It was our first official event that we actually got a chance to record. We actually have the footage. We got to do a lot of fun stuff with it, making intros, which you guys should have literally just watched because that's the intro of this podcast. And just little stuff like that we get to mess around with. Randy Jarvis Sr., Randy Jarvis Jr., thank you guys for giving us the opportunity and putting your trust in us to get the job done. I want to also thank Scott Corbin for putting one hell of a fight card up, because without guys like Scott and matchmakers like Scott, this wouldn't have been possible anyway. And last but not least, a big shout out to Apex Fight Systems for housing our new studio.
Dude, it looks awesome here.
Yeah, I love it here, man. It's got a good background. It's got a good vibe, especially when the fighters start coming here. Mid podcast, it's nice. You know, it's nice to see you guys getting in there and training mid podcast. It's pretty fun, man. Let's talk about Cage Thunder 5 a little bit, man. First and foremost, performance of the night.
Dude, it definitely has to. Well, you know, all of these guys came in here and gave it their all. I absolutely have to say that for, you know, just all of them coming out and bringing everything into the cage that they brought. It was amazing. All you guys did a great job. You could tell the competitiveness. You can tell the heart. You could definitely tell by the fan reaction of each and every fight that these guys put on a hell of a show. But overall, I do have to say that, you know, the Braden Liggett fight on my end.
I agree. There's a couple fights that I actually really liked, man, as far as performance goes.
Performance is a tough one.
Yeah, I liked Cleavon. Okay. He had one hell of a performance.
Right.
The way that I'm judging a performance of the night is not so much you know, how quick the fight ended or the severity of the knockout or the submission. Right. I like to really look at the fight as a whole, and Cleavon did a really good job. That being said, Braden Liggett did one hell of a job, because in my eyes, I mean, rewatching and watching the first round, arguably Braden could have lost that first round. It looked like there was an opportunity. Right. There was an opportunity for Justin to take that fight. Hell yeah, Braden had even gotten knocked down at one point in that fight, and he was taking a couple hard shots, including a knee, and it ultimately looked like Braden was in some trouble in that first round, and he came out in the second round and just completely dominated that second round ultimately.
Good adjustments.
But so yeah, for me, performance of the night, I'm gonna have to give it to Braden Liggett. Another one too, Chase Boyd.
Yes.
Very good performance, you know, except for the second round. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about the fight as a whole. But besides that second round, where they were basically just body fucking each other the whole time, and we all kind of think that the ref should have probably stood it up. But the first and the third round, very entertaining.
Yes.
And especially when Chase was on top of Butler and was kind of, he dropped 34 punches during that that whole thing, in that short amount of time that he had full mount until the end of the fight ultimately. So those three fighters, I definitely give a great performance.
I think Kissinger could be up there too.
Josh? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I haven't fought in 9 years, comes back in, 41 years old, and gets the win in that fashion. Absolutely. It's hard. It's really hard.
It's a really tough one because, especially on a card that's this good, there weren't a lot of bad performances. So
what about Shokin, Luke, and Carson Mills?
Yeah,
great performance.
Right.
Yeah. It is difficult. It is difficult. That being said, and these are all opinions, mind you. Knockout of the night, I'm giving it to Constant.
Oh, it's all the way Tristan Constant, dude.
I mean, Tristan had a very convincing, and it sucks too because Cleavon had a hell of a knockout too.
Oh, yeah.
But he TKO'd referee stoppage where Tristan knocked him out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He caught him with a great front kick folled by a right straight. Bam. That's all she wrote. And
I mean, so I'm glad that you said front kick. Because for the sake of better words, dude, it was a Spartan kick into the side of the damn cage. For me, when I'm up there watching this thing, dude, I see this Spartan kick wind up, and I see him just thrust that thing forward and then follow it with a right hook. Dude, that guy I don't think he had any idea that it was coming. He dropped his right side, and then it came in. And
Tristan did a very good job at getting Joel to drop his hands on the front kick. And Tristan being able to recognize he only had two amateur fights so far. This was his third fight. Being able to recognize the drop in hands and to quickly throw a right straight while before his foot even came back to touch the ground. I mean, a lot of guys would have thrown the front kick, waited until they replanted before throwing in a power. Because I mean, I think he threw the kick with his power leg. A lot of guys would have waited until the power leg came down before throwing a power right straight. Tristan was able to recognize that his hands were down. Joel was trying to catch the kick, followed up with the right straight. Boom, put him down for the count. And good job on Tristan too. He recognized that Joel was out. He put his hands up, and he didn't follow up and lay with the onslaught of punches.
Good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And then I even caught it on the video too. And this is very rare for us as the media taking care of things. During the 15-minute intermission after Tristan's fight, I go outside to smoke a little bit with Amber and Jess, and lo and behold, here comes Tristan's dad. He comes out and he's talking about his son's fight and everything, and I had nothing else more to say other than Tristan is very respectful. He's very dedicated to his sport, and the sportsmanship that he brings into the cage, I'm hoping that every fighter starts to learn from. He's new to it, and he's bringing in a different perspective to it. He stopped immediately, and then he knelt until his opponent came back.
That's a personality thing. There are some people who. There are people who really take the martial arts aspect of mixed martial arts, and they really utilize the respect factor and kneeling.
In any
Taekwondo,
sport.
Any sport. Taekwondo, they do it too. When anyone gets injured wrestling, in wrestling, a lot of guys would just lay on their back, and as a form of recovery, sign of respect, stuff like that. And Tristan does it. It's like bowing before you get into the cage.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's all that.
And I'm not saying that there was any fighters out here that disrespected their opponents at any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that that's the kind of reaction that Tristan gets from his fans, and I think it just builds on to his character.
Right. Moving on, submission of the night. I'm going to give this one to Flinner.
Yeah, I would.
North-south choke?
Yeah, that would be. Wow, that was different. I've never seen one happen before.
I mean, if you're gonna get a north-south choke. I mean, and this is my argument with guys who have a strong background in jiu-jitsu and wrestling and stuff like that, is when you have this knowledge, and this is why Brogan Endres is so good as a new fighter, is because he knows so much, and when you go up against a guy who's making his debut, chances are he doesn't know as much as you may know. To get a choke like that, O'Malley had no idea how to get out of it and how to even start to fight it. and that's and that's really good on Eddie for locking that
Right.
in. Any other
Luke, yeah, triangle.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Out of
good
a scramble. I think.
against a very strong wrestler in
Yeah.
Carson Mills.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe the evade of the night. I mean, we've seen a couple of good fighters go in
The
there.
evade?
Yeah,
What the
the
hell are
evade.
you talking
I'm
about?
gonna make it up. I'm gonna make it
Hey
up.
guys, what was the
Avoid.
best dodge of the night?
Not
With-
evade. That's not what I
Wait,
meant.
wait.
To getting
Who
out of
dodged the who
No,
dodged
that's
the
not what I
punch
meant.
the best?
Okay, so when I say that, I guess I should use different terminology, but for lack of terminology, the one that got out of the best submission possible.
That's going to be too hard to judge because there's so much going on when you're grappling that we don't even see.
Okay.
We'll
You know
say
what I mean? Like someone could be going for a darce.
for the
and
sake
almost
of
be ready to hit
argument, we'll say Chris Miles and Donovan McCoon when Chris was basically wrenching on
Right.
Donovan's neck with two hands like this.
Exactly.
We'll say
Okay,
biggest
so
evade,
I
but-
just wanted to be different, and I'm sorry for that opportunity. Okay.
it. Fight of the night.
Yeah.
fight of the night.
Another tough one.
Mo Miller, Canyon Tackett.
I agree. Yeah.
It had to be all the way that there was when you called me last night and you told me to think about these things. I'm running through my head and I'm like, I don't think I could choose.
But it's hard. It's hard, and it's all opinion based too. But I think a lot of people. I know we were talking about this. I think a lot of people were surprising Canyon's ability to come out and put on the performance that
Impressive.
he put on against
Right.
a fighter like Mo Miller. So yeah, definitely.
And Mo's had two. He fought Tyrese, and everyone said he just out wrestled him. Can't do anything. Okay. Well. Right. So and then this fight, like he was trying to wrestle and land punches, and Canyon is extremely resilient and patient. He didn't rush anything. He kept getting up, and it
At
made-
one point, reversed a position actually
Yeah.
on Mo Miller and
Got on
actually had
top.
the dominant position
Yeah, it
for
was-
Right.
a moment. Yeah.
it was surprising, especially Canyon is had three fights, right? It's 3-0, no 2-0. He was 2-0.
2-0. Yeah.
So we didn't see a lot of him. He's not allowed to go on that fight with his performance. And I'm sorry for this. He's going to have a hard time getting fights.
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah, because he's
Mo already has a hard time getting fights. I mean, shit.
Right.
But with how well Canyon did against somebody as good as Mo, and it's that loss as an amateur doesn't even hurt him.
No.
right. You want to know what else was a good scrappy fight? Baldridge and Christian Wentz.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that fight, guys. Like that was a scrappy fight, man. Those guys were going at it. I mean, I'm not gonna say fight of the night,
Right.
but definitely entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Very entertaining fight to watch, man. I mean, when people show up to a sport, to an event like mixed martial arts, that is the kind of fight that people
Right.
expect to see.
It was a very back and forth match for sure.
Did they ever say what he couldn't answer for? Was he just wore out? Because he didn't answer the bell. After
They
that.
never actually said.
Oh, he verbally stopped.
Right,
Yeah, but why?
Was he fatigued?
He was
I
done.
don't know.
He said he couldn't
He
handle
was
it again.
well. He was limping. I thought he was limping. Wasn't Christian? He was limping, right?
I didn't get to
So-
see.
I
it.
thought he
From
was.
what
I
I-
thought he was limping out of the cage, but I didn't get an idea of what.
he wasn't limping. I want to say he was over fatigued because he didn't expect the groundwork that was going to happen.
Yeah, but you're very rarely will you see a fighter not answer a bell because they're
Right.
tired. Something was injured. It's had to have been.
I know that when I was up on the side of the cage, his cornerman stayed inside after the whistle blew. And then when that happened, his cornerman came out, grabbed the doctor, and the doctor came in, and the doctor said, "No, he's done."
Right.
So I'm gonna guess and say that he verbally said to the doctor, "I don't think I can do another round."
Well, yeah, it has to be verbal. If you don't answer
Yeah.
the bell, it's verbal.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's not a doctor stoppage.
Right.
But I just don't know. He hurt his knee, his back. Was he tired?
If I were to guess, I'd have to rewatch, but I'm pretty sure he was limping. I think it was his knee. Not exactly sure though. And no, we didn't even ask him. So, but starting from the beginning of this card, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk a little bit more in detail about Cage Thunder 5. Starting with Lawrence O'Malley versus Eddie Flinner. Again, Eddie Flinner took the victory in the first round with a rear north-south choke.
Yeah.
And again, possibly submission of the night. Very good dominant position. And these guys were making their debut. Now, Lawrence came in. He had a game plan. Unfortunately, his coach wasn't able to be there for him, so I had the opportunity to corner for him. And I always feel bad because not knowing a fighter, not knowing that person, and there's really not much you can really do as far as coaching goes. You just kind of have to be there in the corner so they can actually have the fight. Because if you don't have the corner, you're not going to fight.
You have to figure out the verbiage. Like, if I say this, will you know what I mean?
Yes,
that's the hardest part.
So trying to come up with the terminology
without giving his opponent.
Well, no, how to coming up with the terminology, how to tell him to defend against a north-south choke. Very difficult for me.
Right.
But it was he can't Lawrence can't take this loss to heart, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a choke that once it's locked in, if you don't know how to get out of it 150%, you're not going to get out of it.
So what would be the way? Do you even know?
Well, honestly, I would have fought it. I would have fought it differently. Once the choke was in, the choke was in basically. I would have turned into him as he was trying to spin around. I would have just kept moving to my right, and I would have followed him, shrimping, trying to get my right leg into a half guard, and then trying to eventually work into a full guard, and that's how I would have defended it until I got into a position, and I would have transitioned to a position where I felt comfortable, and I would have been able to work something dominant myself. O'Malley kind of just let the position happen. He didn't. He shrimped a little bit, but he didn't fight for it, and he didn't. I also would have. I think I would have threw an overhook on his left arm to try to trap that, and I would have really fought for the shrimp, and I really would have fought to get my right knee inside of his hip.
Because little do we know, this could actually help our fighters. That question.
When you're in a north-south, if you turn towards his arm, if he's here, you turn towards it.
Mm-hmm.
You're turning towards possibly, once you shrimp, a guillotine or a darce.
Okay.
Right? If you turn the other way, you're giving up your back.
Right.
You can end up in a crucifix. It depends what you're willing to fight off. What you're willing to fight off.
Right.
And not just that. If you've never worked that position, you have no idea about any of that.
Right.
You don't know which way to go. You're just, there's a guy on top of me, he's trying to choke me. There's nothing there, and then all of a sudden, shit.
Right.
And that's
What just happened?
Yep.
And it's almost like you're going to work so hard to fight off that north-south. Like I said, if you're not careful, you're going to get put into 3 or 4 different submissions from that angle. So if you don't know potentially what else you can get caught in and how to defend it once that he makes that transition, or to recognize that he's going for that specific choke, lights out regardless.
Yeah, and Lawrence, he landed a really good, I think it was a straight right.
He did.
In the first round. Because I was watching, I was like, oh man, he landed a good punch, but, Eddie took it, and then took it to the ground.
Right. And that's exactly where we kind of thought he was going to take it anyway. I mean, Eddie Flinner trains with Common Ground Grappling Club,
Right.
so Jose Burgos and Brian Berkeley, and, it's kind of what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I could have told you that he was probably going to take that fight to the ground, not knowing anything about Flinner.
Right, and Eddie's been around for a while. He just hasn't fought.
Right.
So he's knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable, yes. Moving on to the second fight, Cleavon Hill versus Byron Norwood, 2 undefeated fighters. Cleavon looked really good in this fight, and I actually think that he dislocated his shoulder in the first round. If you really pay attention to this fight, there's a point where Byron, it looks like he punched his shoulder. I think it was his right shoulder, and Cleavon is like, he does one of this, and then you could see him, and he grabs his hand, and he pulls it, is all the way back, and then he resets his shoulder almost. So it's like it's almost like he one-handed. He won this fight one-handed almost. He caught
when he did that, that looked like that's something that happens
often.
Like
he knew how to.
He didn't hesitate. Oh shit! He was bam, I'm good to go.
But he was setting up the combinations real nice, and like I said, that was a hell of a performance on Cleavon.
Yeah, and he. The hardest part about when you get an amateur fighter, less than 5 fights, is when they make contact, like a good punch, to follow it up and not overextend themselves to where they miss a big punch.
Right.
You know, it's that march where you're staying front, and he did. He looked really good. He looks like he hits super hard.
He's fast.
Yeah.
He's really fast too. I mean, he caught Byron quick, and yeah, as soon as Byron dropped to the mat, I mean, he went from, it was about 4 or 5 feet. He pushed off the cage right in to the ground and pound, and seconds later, referee was already stopping it. So,
and if it wasn't for this other knockout, that could have been knockout of the night.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, definitely finish knockout of the night.
Speaking of,
speaking of Joe Chamorro and Tristan Constant. Again, Tristan with the first round victory looked real good.
He did.
You could definitely tell that Tristan's training is a lot different. The way that this guy is really taking to the sport. Now he's with the gym. He's no longer independent. He's with AIM Performance. And you can tell. You can definitely tell that this is a different type of fighter than when he fought Michael Webb.
Right, and watching him fight when I'm looking, it's I'm looking at his style and I was like, oh man, technically this is wrong, but he was super calm. So normally when you see somebody that doesn't look like they're technically sound, they're not smooth and sound and accurate, and he was all three. Right. So I think that's just his style, the style he's comfortable with, and after seeing that, he looked really good.
Yeah, and I think now, I mean, Tristan moving up to 2-1 with a 2-fight win streak. After this performance, I think now they're going to put him up against somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they're going to put him up. They're going to put him up against somebody. Now, he was saying that he wants to dabble in the 45-pound weight class. The next year in 2019, he wants to go from 45 to 55, and he wants to bounce back and forth between those weight classes. I think that is a good idea. I think that possibly a good test and a good matchup for Tristan would be a Jacob Bostic, who is a 2-1 fighter.
Yeah.
That would be they both fight. They can both dabble between 45 and 55. Not a bad matchup right there. Yeah, Bostic is a very strong wrestler, and
at 45 for Bostic, that'd be a good fight,
right? And it would also test Tristan's ground game to see if he also is improving on the ground, if he has improved on the ground. And also give Bostic an opportunity to strike as well. I mean, that would be an interesting fight, definitely, to see. There's also a couple guys. Tim Hughes would be another interesting fight because, Tim Hughes, who likes to dabble on the stand-up, who really wants to test his stand-up ability. Right. But is very, very, very versatile on the ground as well. Oh, yeah. Would be a good test for Tristan as well. So there's a lot of different fights out there.
I mean, if he stays at 55... Jamar Moore.
But Jamar's getting. He's trying to drop back down to 55 right now. So Jamar's walking around at like 85. Yeah.
Well, he was at 70 something.
Was he 70?
Low 70s the other day. But as far as like a
Jamar's
4-2.
4-2. Yeah, so yeah, I mean. Now Tristan just dabbled in with his third fight. Yeah, I think now that the OSC shouldn't have any issue approving of a fight like that, a 4-2, and a 2-1, especially because Tristan's on a 2-fight winning streak. Right. And isn't Jamar coming off of a loss his last fight, correct?
Last two.
So it might be a good fight for both fighters as well. So just food for thought. I'm not the matchmaker, and I'm sure Scott's got a method to his madness as well.
Yeah, and Scott's got a list of 55ers that want to fight. It's the 55 amateur in this area is a pretty stacked weight class.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting fights in the next 6 months.
And then let's move on. As you were talking about this fight earlier, Josh Kissinger and Jason Beverly. Josh, 9 years. Yeah. He's 41 years old. Like I said, he got in some shit. Life was life, and now he's back into it. He really wants to
Did you dive pretty deep into that during his in his interview?
No, I mean that's
Let him
not
talk
really,
a little bit about
yeah.
it, but nothing.
Nothing big.
I got a small sense of what possibly divorce, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kids, life. You know.
Okay, so it's like
Yeah,
Life
so
at 41 is a lot different than 21, you know, and shit happens. But hey, you know what? Respect for getting back into it, and not just getting back into it to do it, but you could tell by looking at him, he loves doing it.
Oh yeah.
Like he loves it. So to be able to go through whatever he went through that stopped him, recover, come in and get a win, it's awesome.
Oh yeah. And James Baldridge and Christian Wentz, again, very scrappy fight. These guys, Christian's 0-2, Baldwin's 0-1 coming in this fight, and dude, James actually looked really good, man. He did. He looked really good. He looked, but Christian was throwing some punches, man. He's definitely throwing some shots in the first, and again, Christian wasn't able to answer the bell.
Right.
It's the second round or the
second
third?
round.
Is it the second?
It was
round?
the second round because when they answered to the horn, they took a little bit too long for the whistle. And
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I see what you.
They came in off the ground and then they went to their respective corners, and I want to say it was between the first and second round.
Right. Well, because it wasn't the first fight of the night of that night that actually got stopped.
Right.
The fighter didn't answer the bell. So, but no, that was a very scrappy fight, man. Very.
It was
entertaining
the
fight.
end of round 2.
Was it the end of round 2?
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
'Cause it was 3 minutes of round 2.
That's right. Yeah, it was 3 minutes of round 2.
And it's not that they took too long after the bell. He was probably like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So the corner was like, you're done. You're done. If they're done, you don't got,
Right.
You're just done. So, then the doctor came in, checked him out just to make sure, procedure. But yeah, it was just, like I said, not really sure why or what happened, but the only other time I've seen that happen, it was this garbage matchmaker put a fight together, and one guy came out and he was bouncing around. The other guy comes to the cage and looks at the other guy and just, "Rah!" And the first guy's, fuck it, I can't. It was the first.
It was
fight
a
of the
lion
night,
call.
and we're like, what the hell just happened? Like, the guy just growled at him, and he was like, I'm done. I'm good.
I can't compete with a growl.
No,
I gotta go. I can't do this.
That wasn't the first time I've seen someone unable to answer the bell. It happens. That was the first time I ever saw unable to answer bell 1.
Dude, a battle cry.
That's all it was. It was a Spartan. It was just like, nope, not
Fuck,
doing
man.
it. Can't do it.
Carson Mills and Luke Chokin, man. Luke looked really good. Like I said, coming off of his loss against Nolan for that title, his premiere, right?
Yeah.
It was premiere.
I think so, yep.
And he just, in the interview, man, he was really at him. I want to get back on the win, in the win column. I want to get back to it, keep it going. 2019, this is he plans on hitting the next year and doing what he does. He went out there against a very talented, very hard wrestler in Carson Mills, and he did what he needed to do.
He
Right.
really good transition into that triangle.
Yes.
I didn't even
I
see
was-
it coming.
Like you could watch and see, like he climbing his legs, and and Carson was heavy, so he couldn't get it, and then all of a sudden he had the arm, like he was going for an arm bar. Didn't have the arm bar, transitioned right into that triangle. It was slick.
I was expecting the armbar. That's exactly, from my vantage point, that's where I was thinking that he was going to go.
Now, would you say that Carson could have been winning that fight up to that point? I'd have to rewatch it.
There was a
rewatch
lot
it
of good
couple
throws.
times, but Carson has some really good takedowns.
Yeah.
He's a strong
Right.
wrestler, but some really good takedowns.
He was
and spent a lot of
controlling
time.
the pace.
Yes.
For sure, and impeding his will. But Carson was good on his back, so it was a close fight. But up until that point, I think Carson was winning.
Speaking of the devil, we mentioned his name a couple times. We got J Mar in the house. Get in here, J Mar. Sit down with us for a little bit.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Not much going down doing this card rundown, talking about Cage Thunder 5 a little bit.
Tell everyone who you are, where you train, what you want to do.
Hey, I'm J. Moore, 4-2 MMA, 6-1 boxing, fight 155. I fought at 145 and fought at 170. You know, so just depends on how I'm feeling at around that time. But yeah.
So depending on whether it's before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving.
Well, that too. I guess. But,
Today it's 185.
but yeah,
Right.
train at Apex Fight Systems. Been around a little bit everywhere, so yeah.
Right on, man. Let's get right back into this card. Let's talk about Donovan and Chris, man, the super heavyweights. Donovan McCoon, Chris Miles, both guys from West Virginia. Chris Miles, two-time Tough Man champion. He's a wrestling coach at Spring Valley, West Virginia. Went to the same high school as Chris, man. I'm actually got an opportunity to talk with him. He knows all my old coaches. He knows a lot of my old friends from Huntington. You know, and then you got Donovan, who's I think he's around the Parkersburg area. I'm actually wrestled at Parkersburg for a little bit. So these two guys, George Pointer, who fights and trains with Apex, was supposed to fight Donovan, ended up having to back out due to a rib injury. So Chris Miles stepped out on a week notice, and even Chris admittedly, as he wasn't in the best of shape to take this fight, but he felt that this was a winnable fight.
I believe he was a 320, right?
324.
324.
So, and Donovan, surprisingly, he came in at 286.
Yeah.
Doesn't, I mean, no offense, Donovan, you don't look 286. You look a little bit bigger.
But I'll tell you what.
But maybe it's the height. I don't know.
It could, yeah. He in pictures and
Heavyweights
film.
carry their weight differently.
Right.
Oh,
And
definitely.
he looks
He's
bigger in
super-
pictures anyway.
Because
He just looked bigger.
I'll tell you what, man. It was.
Because James Neff, Big Sexy,
Yeah.
he said he was only like 20. The other Donovan was only like 20 pounds heavier than him, and Neff slimmed down a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Neff's around 247 right now.
Yeah.
I think he said he was.
Dude, he was at the fights. I turned around while I was on the cage. I'm looking over. I'm like, I know that haircut. That's definitely James Neff.
know
But
the
that
back
don't.
of his head.
I don't think that. Oh, that was fucked up.
I know the back of his head.
But no, I'm standing on the side of the cage, and these guys, man, they came out to fucking scrap. That's no joke. They.
Hey, I was making fun of you. I'm like, you don't have a harness. And
I don't have.
What's that?
I know, right?
My biggest thing when I was talking to Matt, I said, hey, man, you're going to have an issue when the super heavyweights come out. Just hope that you don't fall.
Right.
And that's what I kept thinking about days leading up to this event. And then the fight comes up, and what happens?
They hit me right on.
They drive into the panel that Matt is standing on, and I immediately was like,
This is gonna
oh,
happen.
man, Matt's going down, dude.
So
Thank God it wasn't the Caleb Raymond and Nick Brashear fight, because you would have been gone.
Second row.
don't take this away from me though. So when they hit the cage, I had a moment in the back of my mind like, this is gonna hurt.
This is it.
And I've got Josh Sines. Is that his wife or his girlfriend?
I think it's his girlfriend.
His
Amanda.
girlfriend. Yeah, she's sitting right below me, and I'm holding on to the rig and everything. And as soon as they come back, I move my foot backwards to center my weight a little bit farther back because I knew it was coming. And as soon as they hit, and I feel the shudder, and the whole platform just goes wonka wonka wonka. I was like, whoa, shit! And I look down at Amanda and I say, "Don't worry. If I fall, I'm only gonna break your neck."
Jesus Christ.
So she laughed about it, but no, these guys.
It was good camera stability. Going back and rewatching that.
That's because
fight.
I held it up. I held it up above my head like this, and I'm going, "Oh shit!"
I told you to a D ring, some 550 cord, strap that shit to your
Dude,
belt loop.
I
or
couldn't
something,
find
man.
it. It's down in my basement somewhere. I could not find my freaking lap belt.
Ratchet strap.
I was thinking of all the things that I
Coming with
had
a
in my
full
car.
blown on like oil rig harness, like a Derek suit coming in.
How
A Bosun chair.
how would you say the stand up in this fight was when they were standing up?
It was entertaining.
It was
I wouldn't,
sloppy.
I wouldn't say that it was like the best stand up that I ever said. It was tough man quality.
It was a
stand-up,
super
man.
heavyweight.
And,
Super
yeah.
heavyweight, man.
I-
There was no rhyme or reason to it. There was no. Chris did a really good job at setting up the right hand with the leg kick.
Right.
You know,
It was better than what I thought it was gonna be, to be honest.
Like I couldn't.
Super heavyweights either just throw
Right.
bombs into.
But see, like Chris is the type of fighter Chris is, as I would say, he set it up, and like there was a point where Chris he set the right hand up, landed a really strong right hand of after a leg kick, and then when Donovan went up against the cage, he followed up with a couple other shots, but immediately went straight into the takedown. So it's hard to really justify because Chris was going straight at him. I mean, he did hit him with
yeah.
a good Superman punch in the first round that set up that nice judo throw.
Right.
But I mean, that's where Chris was. He
I
was
think
setting
this-
up some punch. He was punching to set up the takedown, and he really wanted to out wrestle. Like we talked about it when we were talking about the initial card rundown. When we talked about this fight, was Chris was going to win this fight. He was going to wrestle Donovan until Donovan got tired, and then he was just going to impose his will. And that's kind of a little bit, you know. I mean, Donovan did reverse position at one point on the ground and had Chris kind of like in this little 69 position up against the cage.
Okay, so
but like he didn't really do much with it. He landed a little bit of ground and pound, but then Chris was able obviously to.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Chris was able to like get back up and get into another position, stand up, take him down again, and then later in the second round, Chris was a sloppy rear naked choke, basically just cranking on the dude's neck with his hands like this, and
Camel
just,
clutch.
Yeah, it's just.
So, okay, you used to be a super heavyweight.
Well, yeah, I never fought super heavyweight.
Oh,
but
heavyweight then.
Yeah, I've never fought super heavyweight, but I technically was a super heavyweight.
Okay, well,
right.
I wasn't. That's not where I was going with this, but. Now,
yes, I was really fat one day, or at one point, man.
One day. It was only one day of his life. He went
day.
from 300 to like
No,
195.
I've only fought at heavyweight. But yes.
Okay. So the strategy that I saw was just, I was standing up there, I'm looking down, and I'm watching these guys. What's the strategy of using all of your weight on somebody's chest? Because there was a long time there where he was just laid across him.
I was waiting for him to put all his weight on his face.
That's where I was thinking he was going to go with it, but
what I
that's...
was waiting. But then that would have probably been easier to roll him. I'm not sure with the heavyweights.
If you look
he
at it as a
wasn't using
wrestler,
his hips at all.
It's your chest
tiring.
on theirs, restrict their breathing, try to get a pin.
And that's what I thought.
That's how
instinct.
wrestlers.
And it's control too. Anytime you want your hips and chest above whoever it is,
Right.
you can control more. But
I think he was going more for asphyxiation than anything else. I mean,
and
that's
because
what I
you
was
could see him
waiting for.
fumbling underneath
You can put
himself.
your weight on somebody while you're resting,
Right, and that's what I was thinking.
especially when you weigh over 300 pounds.
But
Right.
it's definitely hard. Okay, I've grappled with George.
Yeah.
And he's 330 pounds, and I have a hard time, when I've got that weight on me. When you are the same weight, so when you got like 300-pound guys, and you got one on that dude, one on top of you, all that weight is bearing down on your stomach,
Right.
on your chest. You can't
your
fucking
weight, too.
breathe.
Right. And I
So-
figured that was his tactic.
As I remember, there was a point where Chris was on Donovan, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
straight,
he
but
was-
I was
he
like,
was
I remember,
sprawled
I
all the way across.
I thought to myself, I was like,
waiting
that's
for
a
him to
lot
put
of
all the
boy.
weight on his face because
Yeah.
I know if I get somebody in that position, that's first thing I go to is just put my weight
Yeah.
off.
Right.
And that's a
you're gonna
lot.
put-
Being that big, that's a lot of boy to move off you, man.
Well, he did though, and if you remember back to it, he actually threw him off. He finally got him into a position where he could throw him off, but he was too exhausted by that point. I mean, he had to.
Are you
summon
sure
a
that
lot.
he threw him off? Because I think he just rolled, and that's when Chris had ended up getting Donovan's back and was trying to get him in the
weird
rear
choke.
naked. Yeah.
Yeah, he may.
He
have
just couldn't get the
rolled.
rear naked because Donovan's neck is like fucking 24 inches, and
Right.
he basically didn't have a neck. He was just trying to get him into a shoulder, he was just grabbing his shoulders for that, at that point.
We promise this is not a bashing of the fighter.
It's not
This is-
bashing, man. He's just had a thick neck,
He's
man.
got a
See the
huge
meme
fucking
that been
neck,
going
bro.
Around the last week or so. That's the first person I thought of when I seen it. I told George, I'm like, hey, you wouldn't have knocked him out. You wouldn't have been able to knock him out. His neck.
I don't know. George is
strong.
pretty heavy with his hands though, so
Yeah,
he may have been
It's
able
all
to pull
about the
something.
neck control.
Right.
It's just the neck.
I mean, he did have a thick fucking neck.
It's a neck out.
neck out.
Christ. Let's talk about arguably the fight of the night that we had talked about earlier. Canyon Tackett and Mo Miller, man. It's again, surprisingly, a lot of people. I think Canyon has surprised a lot of guys. He surprised a lot of people.
He did way better than what I thought. He was
And see, and this is non-scripted. J-Mark coming on the podcast and saying what we literally just said. A lot of people feel the same way about this.
I thought Mo was going like
straight out wrestling.
Because like honestly, I've never seen Tackett. Well, I've seen him fight once, but it wasn't like I don't want to say competitive, but it wasn't like.
Well, you only had 2 opportunities to see him fight, so
yeah. So
I've seen him fight both times, and yeah.
But I trained with Mo a few times before too, and I know how good of a wrestler he is, and I didn't know how good of a wrestler Tackett was. So
were you surprised? Were you surprised that Canyon initiated the takedown on Mo, knowing?
Not really.
I was surprised.
I mean, he shot in quick.
I was surprised at the ankle kick he went for, but
well, I mean, I'm thinking
when he shot to try to shoot the double. He was like so far away.
When we were talking
when he was coming from almost the other side of the
I think
cage.
it was just like out of desperation.
When we were talking about the fight in the rundown last week, Randy Jarvis Jr. had mentioned that he felt that Canyon was going to do a lot better job because of his kicks, the utilization of his kicks and his striking. And though he felt that Mo was going to be the better wrestler, Canyon would be the better striker. So to see Canyon shooting in on takedowns early in the first round kind of surprised me a little bit.
I was surprised that like what he said. He shot in from almost the other side of the cage. He immediately figured out.
He dropped his level with a fake, and then immediately stood back up and then shot in again. So it was.
I think it was a tactic change.
I think what surprised me is not that he tried to wrestle. He knows he's not as good of a wrestler as Mo, but the confidence knowing that and still trying.
But me, I'm the same way. Like even if I know you better than me at something, I'm just gonna do it just to prove a point.
Right.
But
yeah, and that's what I was just getting ready to say was
yes.
Only 2 fights, not a lot of cage time to have confidence enough to go against someone who's like, he's a way better wrestler than me. Fuck it, I'm doing this anyway.
I don't know if it's confidence or if it was just the game plan. They expected Tackett to keep him up on his feet. So maybe they said, well, you know what? They're going to think that I'm going to keep you up on your feet.
Maybe Mo didn't expect him.
So he may not have been expecting that. So
yeah, but after the first 2 tries, when you shoot and get put on your back, know Mo's ready for it. But he didn't quit. He kept going.
And like I said,
he reversed positions.
Yeah, there was a point where he did. He reversed position, and Canyon was actually, for a brief moment, in a more dominant position than Mo was. And if, like I said, Canyon shouldn't take this loss
lightly.
No, he shouldn't feel bad about this loss.
No.
He went in there and he fought a guy, a really, really tough guy.
One of the best guys in his weight class.
Exactly, and he went the distance. He lost by a decision, but I mean, like you said earlier, it's going to be hard to find Canyon fights. And I mean, he's only 2-1 now. It could be hard to find this kid a fight now based on his performance.
Because they're like, you see how he did against Mo? No, I'm good.
Right. Going all 3 rounds with Mo Miller is not easy.
I mean, it's kind of like Luke Chokin and Nolan Stahl. You look at, Luke lost that fight, but he lost a hell of a fucking decision against Nolan Stahl. Yeah. So now it's going to be, then you see fights, he fought a tough Carson Mills and he won. And he won a convincing fashion. So, even being Luke moving to 4-2, it's going to be harder to get him fights now.
Right.
It's going to be difficult, but Scott will make it work.
And I'm glad Mo got a fight, not just to get in the cage, but
that's what I was telling him. I'm like, you need a good fight before.
Yeah, he got someone that gave him some back.
Right. Get hit. Yeah. He still hasn't really been hit yet.
So even against Ty Meese, he just mauled him.
Because I thought that fight was going to be like a real good fight. I'm a fan of Ty Meese, fan of Mo.
Mo just out wrestled him.
I was waiting for that fight because I'm like, this is going to be a good fight. Yeah. But it didn't.
I thought the Ty Meese fight would have went how this one did.
Yeah.
But
because Meese is pretty good at not striking, but grappling too. So I just thought that was going to go way different way than what it did.
Mo got a challenge and move through it. So
let's talk about Chase Boyd versus KO Butler. This one I mean, it's personal for us. It was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Chase, he showed up. He had a
what he
game
had to
plan.
do.
He had a game plan, and they stuck to it. We knew what his game plan was going to
Right,
be.
right.
We tried to prepare KO as best as we could for his game plan. And though I still say that the second round should have been stood up at some point, because the beginning of the second round was really entertaining.
Yes, it was.
And then the next 2.5 minutes after that was basically just Chase not face fucking, but body fucking KO.
Right.
And he wasn't really doing anything at that point. He was just, KO was squatted up with his back up against the cage.
Right.
And Chase had one hook in with an arm around his chest, occasionally throwing one of these.
Right.
And, I just don't think that there was enough activity for most of the second round for
There was
the
a
referee
lot
to
of
not stand him up.
There was a lot of communication from the referee to both fighters, and I noticed that a lot. Like, once or twice I can hear, hey guys, progress, or change your position, or something along those lines. But he kept yelling it. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it should have been stood up. I don't think that there was enough progression in the ground game, and it should not have allowed to go to the point where it did.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say that if they would have stood him up in the second round that there would have been any different outcome.
Well, yeah, no, I understand
But-
that, but the thing is that it just.
It's just the point.
Yeah, the point of the point of the matter is that the referee called it due to strikes, but the problem was this: there was 100%. You can watch the tape. You can watch it 5 more times. Both of KO Butler's hands were still moving. His face was not closed.
There's an argument.
Because that
And
same
I'll
ref
make-
stopped the fight with Donovan and what's the Miles?
Yeah,
Chris Miles,
Yeah. After like one punch,
He threw one
big-
hard punch.
Yeah,
Heard
and
Donovan's head hit the canvas, and
Right.
Well, this is also the
I
same
mean,
ref.
I could kind of understand that because it was
Yeah.
a super heavyweight.
And this
but at the
isn't ref
same
bashing.
time, I felt like that. could've
This
gone a
isn't
little
ref
bit longer.
bashing.
No, I'm ref bashing.
I was just
Okay.
saying, I was gonna say that was both bad calls.
Th-
I mean,
this-
but I'm not a
They're-
ref, so
right.
I don't. I
You can't take a corner's towel and go wipe up fucking blood or sweat on another fighter's area and then try to give it back. So fuck that dude for doing that. He did that twice, 2 different fights. Took the towels used for KO to go wipe something else up. No, there's blood guys for that. There's people that are supposed to come in and wipe that. You don't use
Right.
my towel. You don't stand the fight up. And trying to look at it like non-biased, nothing happened in that damn fight.
Right. Exactly.
No one did shit. Chase imposed his will and took it to the ground, but nobody did anything. Chase won because he
KO
controlled the
shouldn't have
pace.
but KO shouldn't have been there in that.
oh yeah, I agree. KO shouldn't have been there.
And I think-
There was some. I remember looking at Brian. There was one takedown in the second round where I was like, how did KO get taken down? Like how
KO
did he
stuffed
actually?
one of his
One.
shots.
One really
got
good
away, and then it was
Right.
I'm like,
it went straight to his side.
So and like I said, KO.
Are you
I said
talking
there's
about the
a-
one right when he was standing up and they got right up against the cage right near KO's corner, and he got shot in and then brought straight down to his knee?
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
the second round. It was basically
He got
the
it-
shot that set up the rest of the second round
Right.
where
Yeah.
they weren't really doing anything. But like I said this before the fight, and I said it again after. This was KO's fight to lose. If KO was going to lose this fight, it wasn't necessarily going to be because Chase was a better fighter. It was because KO wasn't. It was.
He wasn't
his fight to
listening,
lose.
and he-
He didn't do his game plan. He didn't push himself hard enough.
KO should have knocked him out first round.
Yep.
That's what I was waiting
He-
for.
and to me,
He just
like,
kept throwing
he
those
was-
kicks
he-
without
yeah.
protecting himself.
He
Right
wasn't
down the middle.
checking the kicks. He wasn't moving in on the kicks and following up with any rights or any punches. He was trying to catch the kicks, and it was like on a fighter that you train for to not get taken down. Why would you try to catch a kick?
Right.
Unless you wanted to take him to the ground. We wanted to not go to the ground.
Right.
Specifically, everything that we specifically pulled out and worked on. Don't catch the kick, block the kick. If he's throwing a kick, step in, throw the right hand. You know,
that's what I do all the time.
he didn't do any of it.
It's like,
But Chase did, like I said, Chase did a very good job at imposing his will on KO.
He did. He
And
controlled the
controlling-
pace.
Yeah, controlling the fight. He did what he showed up to do. Chase prides himself and he wants to be the next Khabib. So obviously he wants to win a majority of the fights in wrestling ground and pound fashion.
Right.
And at the end of the fight, yes. Okay, at the end of the fight, Chase had a full mount. KO wasn't bucking up. He wasn't climbing up. He wasn't doing anything to try to get out of that dominant position.
I was very surprised.
And Chase landed 34 strikes. Maybe not landed, but threw 34 strikes from the top position.
I think he landed like 11, like flush. A lot of them hit KO's hands.
And then KO threw 16 from the back, but only landed 8. So like. And even during that, the onslaught of ground and pound that was coming from Chase, regardless of how much you've actually hit, the amount of volume that Chase was throwing during that ground and pound compared to the what KO was throwing, I mean, you can arguably say that it was a good stoppage. I mean, yeah, he was throwing punches back. He was trying to evade. And I got told KO, even if it wouldn't have gotten stopped, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the fight.
Right.
Well,
He
yeah,
was
it's
still
true.
gonna lose.
But I know leading up to the fight, I told KO, because I'm like, I know he's going to take you down. He's going to take you down. So I'm not going to lie to you and say that you're going to stop every one of his takedowns. He's going to take you down. So I told him, if you get the mount, you got to worry about getting out of there. Don't stay there. I'm like, you better off taking a couple clean punches and getting out instead of staying there trying not to get hit because you're going to get more.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing that I was very surprised about. KO kept eating them. I mean, he just kept doing it. And like you said, just when opponent was up on top of him, and he just kept throwing them. He wasn't trying to buck up and get out from underneath him.
And
That's what I mean by he just
KO
kept
throwing
eating them.
KO throwing punches at the end of that fight was his last ditch effort.
yeah,
Right.
to
it was
stay
desperation.
busy. That was it.
I don't want to get finished, but the only complaint about that stoppage I have is KO's landing punches. He's getting hit, but he's landing.
I thought it was the best.
Why would you stop it there when you let the second round go on for 2 fucking minutes?
Yeah.
Meh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Like,
I definitely
it's-
think it was a bad stop. I mean, I wouldn't have stopped it, I don't think, in that position. But at the same time, I'm not a ref, so
Right, and I understand why.
Even
you
the
know,
ref got called out by a couple of fans, too.
everybody's going.
and
the
then,
dude comes up to him,
and
too.
then he
like,
tried
what?
to fight it. The ref tried to fight a guy in the crowd.
And it was actually the
Like
ref
someone
calling
said
him
something,
out.
and the ref was like, "Let's go."
So then he
I was
actually,
wondering what happened. I seen
Yeah.
they escorted the one dude
Yeah,
out. But
and then
no.
they had him thrown out, and I'm like,
that was
"Use
backwards.
my goddamn towel. You ref like shit, and you try to fight someone in the crowd. It's crazy."
And even the OAC brought him over to his side, and he goes, "That's not called being professional." Because the OAC was right underneath me. And I'm looking right at him going, "You're going to let him continue the fights?
Sorry,
because you
Greg.
just called somebody else out."
Sorry to backtrack, but I want to know what judge scored the Mo fight, 29-28.
I have no idea.
That's what I want.
I don't know. There was actually one guy. So we're doing an intermission. One of the guys at the table, his sole purpose was to time each fight and time the intermission. So we go over there. I asked Josh Sines, and I'm like, "Hey, Josh, how much more time do we have?" Because I wanted to go back out for another smoke. The guy that's holding on to the time, he goes, "Oh, I was supposed to be timing this?"
You had one job, man.
And I was like, "Dude, you had one fucking job, and you can't even do that." So I think it was the lady right next to him that was that gave the 29-28.
Leslie?
Yeah, I think that was her.
Wasn't she?
Leslie Washington?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she ref.
I don't know if
not
she was a
ref, but,
judge.
I don't think so. What was she doing, though?
I didn't see her there.
She was there. She was.
She was there. She was up. She was cage
I
side.
got
I think
there
she was
kinda
like an
late, though,
assistant
so-
inspector or something
Oh, okay.
like that.
Okay.
Leslie, she was doing good. Man, I asked about her health. She's like, much better. She's doing good. Anybody who was interested on Leslie's health. You know. But let's move on to Justin Patterson and Braden Liggett.
It was a good fight.
This was a very
That was,
interesting
yeah.
fight. Like I said,
That's fight of the night right there.
I thought Patterson was going to
well, not
stop
fight
him.
at night.
But
It looked like he was.
a contender.
In the middle of at the beginning of the first round, I thought Patterson was going to stop him.
Oh yeah, I
in that
remember
fight.
I was watching. I was like, man, dude. I was like, Braden's in trouble.
Yeah.
And then like I turned
Braden
it.
looked like he was scared to get hit. To be
Yeah,
honest.
like I turned it for a second. I look back and fucking Braden's on top of him. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh damn.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is also the first person Braden's fought that's the same size as him.
Actually landed some good shots.
You know.
Actually, didn't their weights come in
I've seen
even?
about like 3 of his fights.
Didn't their weights come in even along with their height?
There's a difference.
yeah.
There's a difference between being the same weight and the same.
No. I was just
Yeah.
saying they're both over 6 foot, right?
Yeah.
So-
But, you know, like when me and Jamar were talking, like when you're in a fight, if you're willing to take one why you're given one if you're confident. When you have reach, you don't got to worry about that a whole lot. So, you know, when you're outboxing someone, you're landing, you might get hit once, you might land 5. When you're the same size, it's a whole different ball game.
No, yeah.
I mean, hell, we had this discussion about who was it? Fred Davis and Roy Nichols.
Yeah, when they were
the
same height.
Yeah.
But Roy Nichols is 5'5" and Fred was 5'6".
Yeah, you know, it's not very common for them to be able to go up against somebody there's the same height.
That little
So it
bit
was
more
very
uncommon
refreshing.
than, you know, the Justin and Braden. But yeah, Braden was definitely
In a scramble.
Yeah.
What was the stop?
Do they like to
His jaw was
No,
Nothing
his
was
back.
wrong with his
It was
jaw.
his back. They said jaw, but it was really a lacerated kidney.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
He took that heel kick from guard.
We think it was the heel kick from guard. You could clearly see it on camera, and you could see Braden apologizing or saying something to Justin after he threw it, and then proceeded to throw hit him in the back of the hamstring.
I was surprised to see how far they were able to crawl with one guy on his back and the other guy just standing around. They crawled from one side of the cage to the other side, and then all of a sudden, out of
was a
nowhere, I'm
good
looking
fight.
down, going, how the hell did you guys get from there to here?
Justin was taking it to him, and he caught him with a good flurry, followed up by a clenched knee, and then kept going. And then at one point knocked I think it was a little bit of both. There was a knockdown and a slip. It looks more like a knockdown, but I think it was Justin angled out, and Braden he used Braden's momentum that ended up falling down, but right into took him down, got into a dominant position, and then in round 2, fucking Braden just
Exploded.
turned it on. You know, he just turned it on. He started landing the shots. He ended up taking him down. He ended up getting the full mount and unleashed a hell of ground and pound.
So
and of
who do you
course,
think
Chad
won the first
Chukovich
round?
was going to let his fellow Mansfield not get fucking TKO
Right.
in the second
You know what
round.
the funny thing is? I was talking to Doogie during that fight. I was like, "Oh, Chaz, you know, reffing the fight. This fight's gonna go."
Well, I remember seeing it, and I was like you could see it, and like he is just unloading, just a right hand, right. Just kind of, I'm watching, I'm like, of course he's gonna let this fight go on
Right.
at the end of the round, whereas we just fucking watched a bunch of other fights that got stopped for way fucking less.
Right.
But Justin couldn't, you know, obviously Justin had that last
Yeah, and I think-
he decided that he couldn't.
So, what do you
fucking
judge the
Right.
fight? What scored the fight? Who do you think won the first round?
I think Justin won the
I
first
would
round.
give it to
Justin.
Justin in the first round,
First
and
round.
then obviously Braden in the
Yeah.
second.
And
And
I think that heel to the kidney
That really-
affected
yes.
him in that whole second
So-
round.
So why? I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the decision, but
He couldn't answer the bell.
oh,
yeah,
okay.
it wasn't
Yeah.
a decision.
Oh, okay.
Justin couldn't answer the bell at the beginning of the third round, and like I said, the doctor
But
said it was a
it was
jaw.
weird. The doctor went in, you know, he's like, my back hurts, whatever. And the doctor looks at his jaw. So it was just a really weird stoppage, and he ended up going to the hospital for his back.
All right, let's move on to let's talk about the pros a little bit.
Well, there's really not
this
much.
this one.
It didn't go very far.
We'll talk about this one for as long as the fight lasted.
So weird.
We got Lite Allen or Marquise Allen and Chad Kelly. This one, so the fight starts. Chad Kelly cracks Lite with a hard fucking. I mean, you heard the
Dude,
cup
yeah.
shot. He goes down, takes his time. Fight starts back up. Couple seconds later, eye poke, and over an eye poke.
Right.
And
I was
Marquise
confused
actually.
on which eye it was.
Yeah, Marquise actually stopped it for Chad. It was like, hey, I caught him. He looked at the ref, and you can see it on video. He goes, I
Right.
caught him. Okay. He takes the time, and then they start back up. They said, hey, man, I'm sorry. Let's get it done. It's hard to see from the camera angle.
Right.
It looks like Chad came in to attack. Marquise threw a punch, and then
Hit him again in the same eye.
Chad. Well, he threw that would have been the left hand
Yeah.
and left eye.
So he dodged. So he went to dodge, and when he
It
dodged
was
it,
very, it's
Yeah,
hard to
it's-
see if the second one was an actual eye poke. There is controversy
right.
right now that's happening, saying that that second eye poke was not an eye poke, that it was a closed fist, and that the referee did not see it. He believed the fighter. The fight shouldn't have been a no contest. Should have been disqualification or loss.
Right. Well, see, they
Lee-
penalized
He
Lite
turned
should
he turned
have-
his back,
Right.
Yes.
and the other guy, he went running at Chad.
Yeah.
And then the ref's like, oh, stop.
Yeah, so he
But-
didn't actually see the eye poke, but is one of those cases where you believe the fighter. Should this fight have ended in the no contest like it did, or should Chad Kelly have lost the fight?
Okay, so
do you guys
in between the first eye poke to the second eye poke, all right. Referee came over to the side of the cage where the OAC was, where the
commission was.
where the commission was, and the commission immediately told the referee, if this happens again, disqualification. Instead, when the second eye poke came around, he came over before the doctor stopped everything. He came over and said 1 point away from.
Yeah, they did
for the eye poke. They deducted a point.
Yep.
So if it wasn't for the fact that when the doctor came back in on the first eye poke and examined the guy's eye, he had a scratch on his retina. So because of the second one, they were under the impression that the blood was not coming from up above his lid, that it was actually coming from the tear duct.
Oh, so he's bleeding.
So that's where they first thought about it. Then the doctor came back in, he checked him one more time, and then realized, no, it's just a laceration above your eyelid. And the guy said, no, I can't see. So that's when they stopped the fight.
Oh.
So by Chad saying I cannot see,
It should be
and
a verbal.
the referee did not see the eye poke,
Correct.
should Chad Kelly have lost that fight by doctor stoppage?
See, that's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
It is
That
very hard.
information, it
And the ref
does
took a point
change
away.
Everything,
He did.
So, you know,
And it's kinda-
being in the
it-
first round, it has to be a no contest.
But should he have taken a point away? Not seeing the eye poke. See, the first
No.
eye poke, Marquise he admitted.
Yeah, he
goes,
admitted it.
I eye poked. I caught him. Check him out. But the second one, he goes.
Yeah, if you don't see it, you shouldn't be able to take a point away. If you don't see it.
And he charged him afterwards. So
Yeah.
I don't think he would have, charged him
Yeah.
if he knew he poked him in the
Right.
eye. So I don't think.
Well,
And then you know,
because you can get punched in the eye and it feel like you got poked. I mean, I'm not
Right,
taking
no, I
any-
know, I get you.
I'm not taking anything away from Chad Kelly
Yeah, he's-
or Marquise. I'm just
Right.
playing devil's advocate here, and I'm just saying that there is controversy out there right now. There are people who are watching that video on the Rubber City Throwdown page and that are arguing and go, no, that's bullshit. You can't clearly see it in the
Right.
video. That's the shit part. We'll never really know because you can't see it unless somebody's
Right.
got like a better angle. But like,
Which
there
we're
are-
working on.
Yeah, there are people out there that there are claims that he didn't poke him a second time.
So with the idea that we see it all the time where you're going to take your glove and you're going to slide across the eyebrow and make him cut. Okay, we've seen it plenty of times. Doesn't matter how much fucking Vaseline you have on them, those gloves grip. So I'm thinking that what happened was it wasn't a fucking fingernail. He was closed fist. It wasn't a fingernail. It wasn't anything
it.
like that. He came in and he when he went to go dodge the fist, it caught him right here. Pulled the fucking skin up, cut him open. But because of his eye already being irritated, it enhanced that fucking pain.
Was
So-
it
or
so
he
a lot of
did-
blood
or
coming
he
out of
did
his eye?
catch
It
him.
wasn't a lot,
'Cause
but it
I
was a
didn't-
lot.
I was sitting by the door. I didn't really see any blood, but I
There
wasn't
was-
looking for it either.
Listen,
so I
it
don't-
could have been a fucking eye poke, and,
Right.
and it cut the fingernail, cut the eye. It could have been that.
It could have been.
It wasn't
also
like
be
he
a
threw
knuckle.
a hard punch.
No,
because
it
that
wasn't.
sucks too when you just get a knuckle in the eye.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially after you got an
Yeah,
eye
I just
poke.
say I've been caught in the eye with a knuckle, and I couldn't see for the rest of the round.
Yeah,
So
Right.
But in that fight, one person lost a point. Whether or not the point should have been taken away, he took away a point. But because it was in the first round, it's going to always be a no contest because there was no scoring from the judges turned in.
Right.
But what
okay.
he's saying is just because he turned away from it, should it have been? Is that what you're
I was saying because because
away.
the referee didn't see the second eye poke, and Chad Kelly then said
Right.
that he couldn't continue. And yeah, Chad Kelly turned around. He obviously turned around.
Right.
You see what
Oh
I'm
no,
trying
he
to
was
say?
pissed.
Like, it's-
He was upset and he was hurt.
In a normal world where you don't give the fighter the benefit of the doubt, Chad Kelly loses that fight because he turned around and the ref stopped it.
yeah.
Right.
But he stopped it and,
And
then
that's
took a point away.
and that's the dispute
Yeah.
that people are arguing about is should that fight would have been a no contest,
Right.
or should have been a loss on Kelly.
All I know is what I saw when I was up there and what I heard.
Right. And Kelly's not the kind of guy who's gonna fake an injury or so. You know what I
Right,
mean?
no.
Like
Oh, yeah.
something happened.
You're not going to train your ass off for as long.
No.
as
Oh no,
you
he
did
was
just in
pissed
that
off
event.
because he came in there, he trained his ass off. And
I don't
he
want it to
left
seem like I'm
pissed.
saying that he should have lost because he
Yeah.
faked it. That's not what I mean.
And that's what I'm not. I'm not saying that he should have lost.
The situation is just so awkward that you have a groin shot, 2 eye pokes. The ref didn't see it. He still stopped the fight. It's going to be controversial.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing else. There's
It's the nature of the beast.
yeah,
the no contest was the fairest thing that could have happened
I agree.
because nobody
Yeah.
wants to take a loss over some bullshit.
Right.
Probably, yeah. You're right. The no contest was definitely the fairest thing.
Yeah.
Because if they wouldn't have did the no contest and they would have to say they would have disqualified Lite or gave Chad Kelly the loss,
Right.
then it would have been even more controversial.
Yeah.
This would have been way more controversial. But because it's a no contest, everybody. Well, I don't know if everybody's happy, obviously, because a lot of people are blaming the OAC.
It's better
for
that
this.
everybody's mad
Yeah.
than half and half.
You know what
everybody
pissed off.
I may have been premature by saying it, but because the camera was off and everything, and everybody was already pissed off and all that, I was like, "It's all right, guys. Don't worry about it. You guys can come back and do it again." It's one of those situations
They
where
might.
it just make it happen again.
Run it back.
Yeah.
Let's get into the main event, though. Jake Miller, undefeated 3-0 versus Jeff Pelton, 5-2.
Wow.
Pelton took it to him.
Yeah, he did.
I'll tell you what, man. That guy came.
Another guy with super high level wrestling.
Yes.
Like Pelton's really
So,
good.
Yeah, I've trained with Pelton a few times too. So.
And going back to when we were talking about performance of the nights and knockouts of the nights and all that stuff, we didn't even mention Pelton.
He came
It
out.
was
he came out
very
hard.
aggressive.
Yeah.
As far
And
as
he made that
fighter of the
smooth
night, performance
transition
of
to
the
the takedowns.
Right.
Yeah, he couldn't even stop it at all.
I mean, Pelton just looked good.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and so did Miller. Miller didn't look bad. I think there were times he was just overwhelmed with the groundwork.
I don't,
Yeah.
and I don't think he expected Pelton to come out how he did.
No.
because
Well-
you rarely see any pros just come out just.
Right, and even if
Going
you expected
for it,
Look,
right, yeah.
so
the
we
level
were.
that Pelton came out at, like even if you're like he's going to come out and start throwing, he was just on fire from the
They were
start.
trading some pretty good inside thigh kicks too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
But
just
the
getting
wrestling-
an idea of the guy's personality to begin with. When we were there for the interviews, I mean, the guy was hungry. He was fucking not because he was making weight or anything.
Oh, he was hungry.
No, he was. Yeah, he was fucking hungry.
Pelton or
No,
Miller.
Pelton.
Oh, okay.
So he came out. He had a lot to say, and when he did say it, you could tell that he had a lot of confidence behind it. So
He's a very humble guy.
yeah, he is.
He has really good striking too. So
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
His striking will get overshadowed by his groundwork.
Yeah.
no matter what.
No, yeah, I agree.
It just you
and he's not like from what I've seen anyway, he's not like a flashy striker either. He's more like fundamental. So
Yeah. That's all he needs to be when you're when his striking catches up to his ground game. Goddamn.
No stopping. And we did when we did the rundown on the card, we did talk to Jeremy Jr. Jeremy Jr. Wow. Sorry.
Jeremy Jr.
It's all right.
Jarvis Jr. They have it's a J thing.
Yeah. I introduced him to my son as Gary. I was so drugged up and tired. I'm like, oh, this is Jeremy, and I just put my head in. I was like, what the hell? And then Scott Corbin's laughing. He's like, or Randy. I'm like, I know. I don't know where I got Gary from, but
Gary. He's Gary.
probably because Gary Jarvis.
Yeah, that could be it
Gary
too,
Jarvis.
So no, we were talking about Pelton. I guess Pelton and Jarvis Jr. are actually close friends. So
They used to teach together.
yeah, and Jarvis even said, this guy is going to come out there and he's going to bring Hell Fury with him, and he surely did. I can't complain about the fight. Both fighters came in, they did their fucking job, and I'll tell you what, I was excited. I didn't want it to stop.
Well,
I was like, there's
definitely,
not enough fucking time.
Definitely, Pelton came in. He did a hell of a job against a hungry, motivated, undefeated fighter in Jake Miller. And both fighters have a big career ahead of them.
Hell yeah.
Definitely looking forward to seeing Jeff Pelton back in the cage here soon. And being with Strong Style, now moving up to 6 wins and 2 losses. We don't really know what's in store for him. Contender series maybe. more local shows. He's going to move on to a bigger and better things. We don't know. Just have to sit back and see. And this is what I love about doing what we do, is seeing the progression of fighters' career as
Right.
they move forward. That being said, again, we want to thank Randy Jarvis, Senior and Junior, for giving us the opportunity
Absolutely.
to get in there, record our first event, do the interviews. It turned out great. It was a great show. A lot of entertaining fights. And again, thanks to Apex Fight Systems for housing us. And till next time, guys.
Later.
Man, did you guys see the fight last night?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I did.